I, 29F, have been struggling with boundaries with my family for years, but this situation has me questioning if I'm really in the wrong. For context, I live on the family farm, which is complicated enough, but my family has a long history of dismissing my feelings and crossing my boundaries. A lot of that revolves around my brother, 32M, who has a history of drug use. While he's supposedly doing better now, there hasn't been any serious effort to get him into rehab or therapy to ensure lasting changes, and he still maintains ties to people from his old circle. The most recent issue involves my truck. The truck is in my name, I insure it, and it's generally understood to be my truck. However, since it's also considered a farm truck, I wonder if there's this unspoken idea that it's communal. My brother has worked on it a few times since I've had it, less than a year. But every time he does, he keeps it much longer than necessary, claiming he's busy or there are unexpected delays. But I believe it is so he has an extra vehicle to drive around, especially now. None of his vehicles are running or operational to my knowledge. I've had multiple occasions now that I've had really minor things wrong with it, and we've had great conversations where he has told me, "Oh yeah, I have time, I can fix that for you, I'll get it done tonight and drive it out to you tomorrow or in a week." Cut to a month later where I get frustrated and just drive down and pick it back up without anything being fixed on it most of the time. I live 2 hours away, so I rely on the truck and don't have easy access to it when this happens. Granted, he has fixed a couple things on the truck some of the times. Just never in the time frame he has told me. I finally had a major issue with the truck. A power steering line blew, and I guess in the old diesel trucks it causes the brakes to go out too. So I knew I was either going to have to tow it to a shop or ask him if he would come out and help me out. Looking back, now I should have just called a tow truck and took it to a shop, but I was being cheap and it was the day before Thanksgiving, so I didn't want to wait and deal with it. So I asked him to come and to keep the peace and to stop myself from getting frustrated with him about timeline stuff, because I've accepted at this point the weird fibbing stuff about timelines wasn't going to change. I just told him keep it for however long you need to fix the truck. So back to the point of why I'm frustrated. This time last night also happened to be on my birthday, so I was home at my parents' where he lives. He didn't even ask, I just heard it leaving the house last night as I was hanging out watching TV with my dad. He took it to deliver Christmas presents to his ex-girlfriend's kid, or so he said. This is the same ex who he did heavy drugs with, and I even had one of their friends tell me they were doing heroin together in front of her kid not even 3 years ago. This was after that friend got clean. And she is tied to people in his old drug circle. And while I understand the gesture somewhat, the kid doesn't even live full-time with his ex anymore. She only has custody of her on the weekends now and I guess holidays, or at least that's what my brother told my parents. So there were other ways for him to get the presents to her daughter without going to see his ex. My brother is also a very clever liar and has a long history of being pretty dang talented at knowing what people want to hear from him to get to do what he wants, and was doing this before he got into drugs, so there is always a part of me that doesn't trust what he says. So when I heard my truck leaving after overhearing his conversation with my mom in the kitchen, I was pretty upset and walked out of the room to gather my thoughts and decided I should go home before starting an argument or conversation about this because I was so upset. I told my dad I was going to go home because I was upset about him using the truck, and my dad proceeded to get extremely upset with me for being upset and wanting to leave 2 days before Christmas. And the conversation escalated into my dad saying I had no understanding for my brother and extremely black and white thinking, and I responded that it's because I feel like my boundaries are being crossed, plus his ex-girlfriend alone totaled 2 family vehicles. My brother totaled one of mine out of high school, and I know my brother has a history of driving drunk, plus his ex-girlfriend has busted out all of the windows of vehicles before. My dad followed that up with you totaled 2 vehicles, both of which I wasn't at fault. Both time other people had broken the law, ran red lights, or pulled out in places they didn't have the right of way and I couldn't see them in time to avoid them. And basically said I have no room to talk. And when I replied saying those aren't the same, I wasn't at fault for those, he got up from the table and started screaming at me saying, "See how this sounds, see how you feel when I'm screaming at you, this is what you're doing." Meanwhile, I had not raised my voice to him at all. I was super upset, but I did not raise my voice to him, and I was definitely not yelling. My dad also has bipolar disorder, so it's probably really unfair of me to judge his actions like a normal mentally healthy adult, but it's fucking exhausting dealing with this kind of shit, and that's part of the frustration and exhaustion I have with my family. And I have a similar history of my mom doing somewhat similar things to me. My parents have texted me saying they don't understand why I'm upset at all, and don't get why I want to spend the rest of my holidays alone. A part of me thinks this is totally fucked up, And I shouldn't feel bad my family is walking all over my boundaries and completely disrespecting me and gaslighting me, and the other is wondering if I'm missing something huge, some perspective I'm blind to right now. Maybe there is some huge piece to all of this that is on my fault, like maybe this is why I struggle to have close relationships to anyone besides my friends. If any of you guys can see something huge I might be missing, please let me know. I'm so desperate to break this cycle of shit. Am I the asshole here?